suspended Mkhwebane after Parliament started a process to investigate her fitness for office. Mkhwebane had claimed he suspended her because she was investigating the Phala Phala scandal. The acting public protector, Koleka, then found that Ramaphosa himself had no case to answer over Phala Phala. One of the parties that went to court to argue that Mkhwebane should be suspended was the Democratic Alliance. The national spokesperson for the DA is Werner Horn. Werner, good afternoon to you. So you won this case in court. Why do you believe Ramaphosa was right to suspend Busisiwe Mkhwebane?
Well, thank you, Stephen. Good afternoon. To borrow from the Constitutional Court judgment today, it's quite clear that on the objective facts, the President ultimately had no other real option but to suspend. The Constitutional Court today may be in also prodding the Section 194 Committee in Parliament, again quoted at length from the number of adverse findings previously made by our courts about the way Mkhwebane exercised her duties, and then concluded that the President really had no other option, if one looks at it rationally, but to suspend. And that has been our stance from the very start.
Ramaphosa was represented by his own lawyers, so his case was going to be made in court. Why did you feel the need to, back up Ramaphosa in this case? Why were you arguing to help the President?
Yeah, well, the origins of our involvement was, of course, the finding by the Western Cape High Court that Ramaphosa didn't properly suspend Mkhwebane on the basis of what they believed was his conflict of interest. And then a dispute arose as to whether that specific finding had to be confirmed by the Constitutional Court before it was to become in force. Mkhwebane at the time, if you remember correctly, announced that she would be back at office the next working day. And in the circumstances, we felt it very important to protect the constitutional principle that any conduct of the President found to be invalid or unconstitutional will only be in force and effect once confirmed by the Constitutional Court. So we then launched an appeal to the Constitutional Court to affirm that principle, and that was the origins of our involvement in the matter.
Still, okay, I appreciate, and principle's important. Still quite a strange thing to do, though, to go and argue on behalf of the President that you normally oppose. I realize you don't like Mkhwebane, I understand that, we'll get to that in a moment. But it's still quite a strange thing to do, isn't it? The President has his own lawyers, are they not good enough?
Well, we of course also has a vested interest in the Section 194 inquiry, and it being concluded, hopefully sometime in the very near future. We were the original complainant in the matter. We've been heavily involved in the way Parliament ultimately crafted the rules in play, and in that sense, it's also all about principle, as this will be is the first process where an head of a Chapter 9 institution is subjected to inquiry into their fitness to hold office. So it's all about affirming the rule of law and constitutional principles from our side.
Okay. One of the big issues here is around Phala Phala. And Mkhwebane claimed that she was suspended because she was investigating Phala Phala. And in the end, the court found, as you had argued, that in fact there was no direct interest on the President. But then the acting public protector, Koleka, cleared the President of wrongdoing over Phala Phala. And I think you as the DA may be one of the parties that want to take that report to court. So do you really think it worked out in the way you wanted it to? I realize it's a long game, but it didn't kind of work out the way you wanted in the end.
Well, now, of course, one hopes to take a principled stance. Maybe I must just clarify. Ultimately, what the acting public protector or the public protector's office investigated was a possible breach of the executive member's Ethics Act and Code. So it's not the full spectrum of possible wrongdoing on the part of the President. And as you've indicated, in our view, the report brought out by the acting public protector is not beyond criticism. We've not made a final decision yet, however, to take that on review. But that's also part of life if you in the office of the public protector now, as a consequence of the courts having found that findings by the public protector is the remedial action is to be followed unless set aside on review by our courts.
Werner Horn, thank you, National Spokesperson for the Democratic Alliance. Do appreciate the time. Well.